What is going on, you guys? It's your boy, Average Bob, and Giants training camp is underway. We are about 1 week in now, so I thought this would be perfect time to do a video about what has transpired thus far, what I've been seeing, reading, and trying to package that up in a digestible way for you guys so we could all talk about this together. First and foremost, where I want to get started is just diving into it. Year 4 on this channel. I can't believe we've made it this far. We've had some good videos, we've had some bad videos, but most importantly, I'm excited to see where we can go from here. So, to help amplify some more of my content and thoughts, I got on back onto Twitter or X, whatever it's called now. So, I'll put a link if you want to shoot me a follow down below. Would really appreciate if you guys can support the channel in that regard. And yeah, if you want to connect with me more on a personal level, and I'm going to be probably doing more live posting during games and stuff like that. I know X and Twitter could get really wonky, and so I'm just going to keep it as fun as Giants content related to my YouTube channel as possible. So give me a follow, join in. It's going to be fun. But yeah, year 4, we've learned a lot over the last 4 years, hoping to continue to deliver even stronger stuff for you guys this season. But yeah, with that, let's get started. Let's dive into where we're at right now, getting into the 2025 training camp season. And where we're going to get started here, we'll be talking about, let me move back for the lighting. We'll be talking about the quarterback room. Obviously, this quarterback room has evolved a lot from last season, where we had Drew Lock and Daniel Jones and Tommy DeVito all playing and Tyrod Taylor all playing in multiple games. So this year is going to be much different, and it's already off to a much different vibe and start. Between the antics of Russell Wilson just being his normal Russell self, Jameis being absolutely hilarious, Dart being the young rookie looking to come in and kind of make a name for himself, but also doesn't want to be cocky and learn from the older veteran guys that are new to the team as well. And then good old Tommy DeVito, who is the long-standing Giants veteran at this point, which is crazy. But so far, all of the word from camp, Russell Wilson, and Dable said this too, is going to be the starter this season going into week 1, which is great for a number of reasons, right? The Giants were able to take Carter at 3 overall. We're able to get back into the first round and get Dart for maybe we'll see him play a little bit later this year, or definitely moving forward after this season. But it takes a lot of pressure off a guy like Jackson Dart to not have to be the guy who's drafted overall. You see the Jets do this every now and again, where they get up there, they take Sam Darnold, they take Zach Wilson, they don't give them any help, and they say, hey, you have to save our franchise. Well, the Giants did not do that in this case, which is great. So Russell Wilson will be our starter. I know some people were even pissed off that we brought in Russell Wilson, but look at it in camp now. You're getting reps for everyone else on the team, for 2 proven NFL guys who've been in the league for a while at this point, between Russell Wilson, who's won a Super Bowl, I think an MVP as well. I could be wrong on that. And Jameis Winston, who's a crafty NFL vet at this point, any way you take it. And one big thing of having those 2 guys, in training camp now is for the wide receivers and the tight ends and guys catching the ball out of the backfield, we're actually getting good throws downfield. Where last season with Daniel Jones and the season before that, I feel like he was just so timid, and the offensive line sucked as well. So I think, he did as good of a job as he could with the time that he had. But again, he was getting to a point where he couldn't be confident in his ability and health to stand in the pocket and make throws downfield. Whereas, like, you watch some of these plays from camp, you're seeing Russell Wilson just get the ball out within 2-3 seconds, just giving a nice go route to Malik Neighbors. It really makes my heart warm to see stuff like that, because I feel like even though it's just training camp and even though it's just preseason, it's nice to see because we haven't seen it in so many years at this point. I don't know if I look terrible with the lighting here, so maybe I'll move around a little bit. I guess we're still in preseason here too. And Art Stapleton had a great video the other day too, where he spoke about just Jameis Winston working with the backups with DeVito, right? Like Dart and Wilson were with the first team doing reps there. Winston and DeVito are with the backups, guys who probably might not even make the team, right? And someone drops a pass, and Jameis is literally giving him a palms up. It's the exact opposite of what we've seen from fun Jameis who's laughing around, being a jokester all the time, like giving like a serious, like, dude, you got to catch the ball. That's something that this team hasn't had in so long, is like accountability at the quarterback position for, especially lower on that depth chart. And when we have guys like that are trying to be successful, it only is going to reflect well and make the team better, which is, something that I think has been dragging us down the last few years, ever since really Eli left ultimately. Leadership, but it's leadership through action and asking other people to step their games up as well. People have been saying it, not much doing it, and now we're seeing the doing, which I think is great. And then to end on the quarterback conversation with Jackson Dart, you could dive into all the practice stats and 7-on-7 and how he did and all these weird practice stats. Oh, he went 20 for 22. You see these left and right when you go back on X, and I don't really know what to make of it. JJ Watt had a great tweet the other day where he talked about practice. Now that he's on the other side of, sports media, he is able to see, for example, he's seeing these stats and he's like, this isn't how we're practicing. We might go into certain days or even certain drills, be like, we're going to practice our pass rush today. Or for quarterbacks, it might be like, we're going to really hone in on checkdowns today. So he might check the ball down 20 times in a practice, right? But it's all just getting better. It's all reading. It's all trying to make these plays in real time and just get his feet underneath him as he learns a new system in the Brian Dable, Mike Kafka offense. And so far, it looks like Jackson Dart's doing well. Besides, of course, I'm getting crushed about his first throw in training camp was a pick six. Of course, it had to be. Did you guys expect there was going to be anything else? So, of course, that was just going to happen. You got to laugh at it and say, hey, it's stupid. What if it happens week one? Say he plays week one or whatever his actual first NFL throw is. If it is a pick six, we'll just laugh at that as well. Maybe it would be an omen or something. But regardless, the training camp stats, I'm not a big fan of them. You could dive into them. You could talk about how it's got to impact stuff. But, guys, it's just practice. We have to look at actual game time situations. And preseason will be great for that, the games. And then also, when he eventually gets in the real season. So as much as I love training camp because it's all about playing football, that's a primary focus. That's it. You got to take these stats with a grain of salt. You got to take, now I'm back on X. I'm getting into it with some, one guy about how Malik Neighbors is cooking Paulson Adebo in one-on-one routes. It's like, what are we talking about here? This drill is catered for the wide receiver to destroy the quarterback. Like, he should be cooking him. And he's also, shout out to Malik Neighbors, top 100 player going into this season. So let's talk about the wide receiver room and tight ends. I think, Neighbors has had a couple, he got banged up the other day. It's just one of those things too. It's like, oh, he goes off the field with the shoulder injury. Let's hope it doesn't linger, stuff like that. But here's the thing now with Neighbors being at the point that he's at, who else is going to step up on this team? Will it be Wandell, who's had some good plays? Will it be Darius Slayton, who could get deep? And now we can have some time to throw it deep to him. Will anyone else step out? Bryce Ford Wheaton down with an Achilles or ACL injury for the season, so he won't be like a sleeper pick that some of us had us at last year. Jalen Hyatt, I really haven't heard much out of him. And then I did a video recently about why the Giants should sign Gabe Davis. I still think that is the case here. Maybe they'll just wait to see if anyone does and if he's healthy and maybe bring him in as the season starts. But that's someone else who I did a video about. Go check it out. I'll put it up top so you can click that as well. But yeah, next up, there is a crazy battle at the tight end position. Theo Johnson, rookie starter last season, got hurt towards the end of the season, coming back, trying to get back into that full role of really doing everything across, what a tight end position would require from a responsibility standpoint. And he looks great. He looks huge. He looks in phenomenal shape. Let's hope that he just ratchets it up from what he was able to do in year one. And you could tell the coaching staff absolutely loves the guy. Not sure why they like him as much as my boy Daniel Bellinger. I'm a Bellinger bro. I'm a Bellinger truther, whatever you want to say, who's also having a good camp as well. He's doing everything that the coaches are asking from him from what I've been seeing online. And I would love to see him get a true chance. It's kind of diminished ever since he had that crazy orbital eye injury where he was having a pretty productive rookie season. had that injury, freak injury again, and then the drop off since then. The coaches didn't really, I don't know, there's something that they don't like about him for whatever reason. I don't know what it is. Maybe he can't remember the plays or something, but I hope Daniel Bellinger can be slotted into that number 2 role, or potentially, get the starting job. And then more recently, who's also turning heads at camp, was a guy, 7th round guy in Fedone out of Nebraska, who's a really special athlete, but had the 2 ACL injuries, so didn't have as productive as a college career as he would have liked, but also having a good camp. He's probably going against the end of the roster guys, and was probably a long shot to make the roster himself, but he's looking good. Maybe he can, step it up and make this team and show that he's worthy of a roster spot and position. So then you got Manhurts, who's probably like my age, whatever, and then Dulcich, who they signed off waivers last year. So you do have a very good, healthy competition there. I don't think the tight end room is great, but who knows? Maybe one of these guys can step up and add some stability at this position where we've been lacking for really quite some time at this point. Next up, running backs. The running back room has been hyped up right now with my boy Scatabo, the draft pick out of Arizona State. Him and Dart are coming out together. It just looks like the culture's changed because of guys like him, Dart, Carter. It just seems fun again, that these guys are having fun. Dable, like, obviously he's yelling and MFing people, but that's his job as the coach. But I think the culture is changing. It got a lot of the slop that was here previously out. And I think guys are buying in, and you're seeing it too when they do this little entrance out to training camp every day. It's hilarious. People are pumped. And it's not just for that stuff. It's also his on the field play. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He also has explosive runs as well, which I think will pair very nicely with the productive season that Tyrone Tracy Jr. had last year. So I'm absolutely loving what he's done so far, and I hope it translates to what they're able to do once the season starts and have a true 1-2 punch. I mean, I know people are saying he should have the starting job or whatever already, but again, training camp, it's all about reps, getting his legs underneath him. He seems like a really humble kid. He said, I think during minicamp, he's like, I haven't done shit at this level. I haven't proven anything. Whatever I've done in the past is in the past. I need to prove myself at this level. And this is what I think the Giants did a good job of this draft class and the year before, is taking guys with this attitude of, I haven't done shit at this level. Let me step up. Let me dive in because I want to be a pro and I want to do whatever I can to win games here. And that is how you start building for the future. You build a culture. These guys will get better. They'll become leaders. And then next thing you know, we're back to what we need to be doing to have productive seasons and winning. So, sorry, a little bit of a side rant there, but I think, the 1-2 punch of Tyrone Tracy Jr., I think Tyrone Tracy should be the number 1 running back going into the season and should be until Scatabo proves otherwise or injury or whatever. And then Scadabo's there, and then Motor Singletary should be 3rd or 4th. I probably cut him. I wasn't a fan of really much he's done since he's been here. He seems to be like a Joe Shane and Dable guy from the Bills days. Why did my voice just crack there? But from the Bills days where they would sign all these guys like Gowinski and Carlos Boogie Basham, like these guys they just bring in that are like whatever. Maybe it could work for the case of Gabe Davis, so we'll see there. But I think this running back room could be super talented. I do think people are like, if someone should be the number 1 guy, I think there needs to be a running back by committee here. Really, when the Giants are at their best, they do have at least 2 guys in the mix. And any shortage of, we can't have any shortage of playmakers in this offense because really right now it's Neighbors. And then from there, Scatabo and Tracy could hopefully be a 1-2 punch or duo there. Moving on to the offensive line. To start on the pup was Andrew Thomas, still coming back, not 100% off his injury status. So it's going to be interesting, guys. People always put Andrew Thomas as one of the best players on this team, he probably is. But if you're not healthy and you can't play, how could you be one of the top players on the team? So hopefully he can come back, hopefully be healthy. I just don't want, if he goes down, to be like we're shit out of luck, the season's over, because that just can't happen. Guys get injured throughout the season. And now Andrew Thomas had that Liz Frank foot surgery that guys like Sugar Sean O'Malley from the UFC got. And he's like, this was one of the hardest rehabs I've ever had in my life. And that's a skinny guy who's like 135 pounds. You say you're 6'7", 300 pounds, Andrew Thomas, you're walking around on a foot rehab surgery. He might never be the same. And that's something that the Giants need to kind of plan for it, because they're 3 years into the deal since he extended it. So with that, I think you've seen some other movement on the offensive line. You're seeing guys being, fighty and testy. And then most importantly was the transition from Evan Neal. I was going to do a video about this, but just ran out of time. Evan Neal transitioning finally from tackle to guard. And by all metrics so far, it looks halfway decent at it. So, are we going to be mad at the Giants for not doing this sooner, leaving him out of tackle? Or was it, both parties not coming to that agreement or whatnot? But it looked like Evan Neal was taking reps at right guard with Greg Van Roten, who, let's talk about him for a second. The guy played in every single game last year, pretty much signed right when the season starts. And he played a lot at center too once John Michael got hurt. So if you have a situation where John Michael is starting this season, can't get his snaps right, looks like shit in year 3, I'm not opposed to putting Van Roten in center and Neal at right guard and let John Michael sit and figure it out. The only reason he's still slotted in as a starter because they drafted him in the second round, and it'd be, egg on the face of the guys who drafted him. So maybe they're going to force it to make it work. Maybe he'll get better. You would think going against Dexter Lawrence every day in practice, he would have to get better. But who knows? Maybe that's just not the case for him, and we're just kind of, holding on for too long here. And he's probably, 25, 26 now, which is kind of crazy because I feel like he hasn't even been in the league that long yet. But it's crazy what happened with all those college football players in COVID, and there's still seeing some of that. Moving up to the next part is the defense. Let's get started talking about the edge rushers. Abdul Carter's turning heads, looks absolutely explosive off the ball. You constantly see clips of him doing these spin moves, rips, just getting right to the quarterback, making guys look stupid, and he's doing it right off the bat as a week 1, year 1 rookie, which love to see. Need that transfer on Sundays once the season actually starts. But I really do love this draft pick so much for all the reasons that I've already spoke about. But more importantly, it's going to push these guys further. It's going to push Kayvon Thibodeau further. He's getting closer to a contract, which, he's been so inconsistent, but you see him put in the work to get better. He's doing wrestling. He wants to close down on, getting more sacks to his team, probably because he's getting closer to a contract. And when they look at that for edge rushers, they say sacks, yay or nay. So that's probably what he wants there. And then Brian Burns also doing all the right things from a leadership standpoint. So it does seem like a lot of these guys that the Giants, have brought in at the quarterback position, like Wilson and Jameis, you're also seeing some of that on the defensive side with a guy like Brian Burns. I don't know how I really feel about Brian Burns. He was good last year, I think. But I think he really looks skinny, and maybe that's just the archetype of some of these edge rushers now, that they have to be super skinny. So we'll see how this season goes for him. But again, you're getting these monsters off the edge now, and this is exactly what we needed. I am a little bit pinched for time here, so what I want to transition to next is a little bit of the best of on the Reddit mailbag, so we can talk about some stuff there as well and some thoughts. Check it out. All right, let's do a little bit best of our NY Giants. Photo of the day, gotta love Carter with Coach Tom Coughlin, who gave an amazing speech today at Giants training camp. If you have some time, go watch the video. It's all about the team. The team. I'd still run through a wall for that guy. I love him, and he got done dirty. I actually did a video about how the Giants failed Tom Coughlin. Go check it out. Okay, here we have Russell Wilson deep to Darius Slayton for a one-handed grab. Look at these shots downfield. He's throwing it even though there's a guy over the top. Love it. You can watch Tom Coughlin talk later. Here's Abdul Carter. Oh, my God. Swim. Spin. Just unbelievable. He looks good so far. Another day, another Neighbors touchdown. Bombs downfield. Let's see it. Let's see it once the season starts. Justin Pugh announces a retirement today as a Giant. Happy for Justin Pugh. You know, when the Giants drafted him, it was after Super Bowl year at the end of the first round draft. Syracuse guy. Everyone ragged on him for having short arms, but he had a productive NFL career. So good for him. And I see he's gotten into content as well. And he's a very likable person. So give him some support. Jackson Dart says he's constantly learning from each practice. Says he told Brian Dable, I wish we had 2 days so he could practice again. Yeah, you know, I think the Giants did a very good job of not just Jackson Dart, but vetting a lot of guys that just care about football, being the best football players that love the game. Dart seems like he's one of them. Love it. Where is Malik? Is he safe? Is he all right? Making fun of Star Wars. Yep. And injuries do pop up. We got to keep him as healthy as possible. I think he played 12 games last season, so it would be great if he could get a full season under his belt for the Giants to have a successful offense. He needs to be as healthy as humanly possible. Evan Neal, one-on-one reps, very nice, good stuff, Evan. He's a good clean reps inside. Abdul, dip and bend. I guess we could watch these all day. That's nice. That's a sack right there against a starting tackle. And I will end with one thing. The Giants discussed signing Christian Wilkins last offseason as revealed on Hard Knocks. One Scott described him as Dexter Lawrence's best friend. Wilkins is a free agent again and could be the final piece of the puzzle to give the Giants the best defensive line in football if healthy. The only reason I'm against this is because the guy seems a little bit, I don't know what's going on with him. Mentally, he might not be like he's all there right now. He's coming off an injury. So I don't know. Like, if it was a rookie minimum deal or, veteran minimum deal, maybe. I don't know if he's going to accept that just so he could play with his friend from college. Like, that doesn't really make sense. Like, there could be, like, the Seahawks might give him, like, millions of dollars to play. So, you know, to say that he's going to come at a veteran minimum after making, like, a $49 million contract, like, I don't really know if that's the case for him. And it's also like they've backfilled, they've added to this position. They drafted Darius Alexander in the third round. So I would like to see what he can do for cheap. He's a rookie. Let's see what he could do. Let's see what we have. Not some guy because he's friends with Dexter Lawrence. And obviously, he's not some guy. He's good. He's got paid to be good. He's had a productive time in the league so far. But I don't know. Is this something we want to do at this point? I'm not necessarily for it. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your day and week, and we'll chat in the next one. Average Bob out.